One of the most annoying things that came out of the, let's call it, resistance movement from when Trump first came down that escalator through the election, through 2020, even pertaining into today, is this movement of believe all women, when we have countless examples why that's just wrong. Go back to the Duke lacrosse team. That prostitute ruined their lives. Yeah, should they have been engaging in prostitution? Probably not. But she lied, ruined their lives, and branded them for the rest of their lives sexual assaultists. The woman in I think it was a Ivy League school that would walk around with the mattress, liar. We have example after example after example, and yet they still push this idea of believe all women. Now, I'm not saying, and in no way am I thinking that anyone should have to, achieve a huge level of proof in order to be believed or for the police to investigate or anything like that. But when you have people that just lie, just because they're bored or they need attention, then the entire system breaks down. And this is an example of what happened. So I'm sure we all remember back in 2019 finding out that the very first crime to occur outside of the planet occurred. This woman, Summer Warden, claimed that in 2019, her wife, NASA astronaut Anne McClain, tried to illegally access her bank account from space. Now, we all got a lot of laugh out of this, going like, lesbian, bunch of bullshit, really, at the end of the day. However, it turns out that this was a lie. At the time, McClain was on the International Space Station, and this was the first alleged crime in space in history. The New York Times reported about it. It was all over Twitter. It still pops up every now and then on tweets. And we all get a laugh at it. But she lied. Warden accused McClain of guessing her password to illegally access the bank account from space. And during the investigation, federal investigators, now you might ask, why is the FBI or whoever spending their time on this? It's a bank account. Bank accounts are insured federally, so it's always federal law enforcement that takes the lead in these investigations. I'm sure anyone has ever seen a law TV or a cop TV show. Whenever there's a bank robbery, the FBI shows up. That's why, because they're federally insured by the FDIC. So during this investigation, federal investigators found out that Warden had actually given McClain access to the account in 2015, which means that she knew that it wasn't an illegal access, which means she knew that she didn't guess the password. So all she did was lie and then lie again. And clearly has been lying for the last 6 years. She now faces up to 5 years in prison and a maximum fine of $250,000. So she accused her wife of committing a felony. Her wife, who was a female in space, which is, if we're supposed to believe this whole thing that what you look like or who you are matters, which doesn't. But if we're supposed to, should have been a pretty big deal. And clearly this woman was so angry that the focus was no longer on her. It was just on her astronaut wife. So she accused her of a felony and then committed a felony herself by accusing her. Now, do I think she's going to end up with anything like 5 years in prison? No. I think she's probably going to end up with a couple of months home arrest, maybe some easy camp-fed prison, and a couple $1,000 fine. But this is the problem, okay? We have in our power the ability to punish people who commit these crimes. Because if we want to live in a world where someone shows up and says, I have been sexually assaulted, or I have been attacked, or I have been this, or I have been that, and we want to believe victims, then things like this ruin that. When we have a increase in people just making up crimes. I remember there was a girl at the University of South Carolina that accused someone of sexually assaulting her, only to find out like 3 days later, after they're looking at all the tapes and everything, that no one was around her for like 3 hours before and after the 911 call, showing that she was lying about the entire thing because she was bored. She was tired of not being noticed. She thought this would make her popular. Like, this kind of stuff is bad. This ruins any chance that victims, that legitimate, actual victims have to come forward and have their stories believed and heard. Look at just Josie Smollett, however you say his dumbass last name. You know, he sits there and accuses people of racially and, I mean, I guess sexually profiling him. Is that what it is? And attacking him, saying, this is MAGA country now, and then beating the crap out of him, only to find out it was all made up, that he paid the people to do it. And then he doesn't even actually get punished. So when these people do these things, we need to start holding them accountable. They need to start being actually punished so that other people won't do them. It all goes back to the broken windows theory. If you stop punishing people for the small things, you don't have to throw someone in prison for 30 years for smoking a joint or jaywalking or something like that. But when you stop policing those small crimes, when you start letting society do this thing and then this thing and then this thing and then this thing, eventually it just becomes anarchy. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to live in a country like that. I want to live in a country of law and order, where the police believe the victims, where victims actually are able to come forward, where people don't ruin the chance that victim has to be believed and understood by making false claims and accusations. I don't know. What do y'all think? Let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see y'all next time. Peace out.